Okay, so I'm gonna show you something real quick here. So the left side hasn't been done, same as the right yet. And then if you look, you can see that there's certainly some discrepancy between um, the spacing on these. So what we're gonna do is gonna mess up a little bit of stuff, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we're gonna dissolve those, get them out of the way. We're gonna grab the edge all the way around here. You can alt click or double click sometimes to make that work. Grab that and scoot it along this till it's just about where we want it. That's not far enough yet. So we're going to need to get rid of this vertex, these two vertices here. So this will make sense in a minute, I'm telling you. So grab all those, scoot this thing where, oops, grab the top of it too. You need to move the whole block is what we're trying to do. I want this whole block moved. I'm going to bring it up here where it belongs, rotate it around so it's the right size and orientation and all that good stuff. Not quite right. You do have to keep adjusting your view and all that while you're doing weird stuff like this. So once you got it pretty much where it actually needs to go for reals, you then can reconnect your paths to make this actually make some sense. So it's not all weird faces. You can also delete paths if you don't like them. They don't make any sense. They're doing strange things. You can delete them. So just go ahead and reconnect this stuff like that. It looks pretty smooth except for right here. There's a weird thing happening there. You can delete it and connect this one to this one. Not delete, dissolve. Or you can just sort of bring it out to try to maintain that round shape. And I see a problem right there. And what we're gonna do is we're only gonna do this once. That's the trick here. We only do this once, and we mirror it. So I'm not worried about the other side yet. You notice the other side wasn't done. There's a reason for that. No, let's dissolve that one actually, and connect those paths. There we go. That cleans it up a bit, so it's a better shape. All right. So go ahead and do that to the other one down here. So move it around. Also, this now looks lopsided, so go ahead and grab only the top of that, scoot it back over so it's not all lopsided and goofy. Alright, so do that to this one down here as well. And then we will cut it in half and mirror it so we don't have to do it more than once. Okay, real quick, I don't know if it is because I haven't checked yet, but if you see a face like this one right here that's being weird, it's like an odd darker color and it like flashes at you when you change, you might have an inverted face. So if you see something strange like that, do go check your normals and make sure you don't have something stupid happening. In this case, it doesn't appear to be. I don't know why Blender's doing that. It might be a double face as well. I kind of doubt it. Doesn't look like it. But that is always a possibility. So if Blender is showing something that looks weird, it probably is weird. So just keep that in mind. So what you're going to do now is go through and make sure all your stuff is nice and fine-tuned. And wow, that is distracting. Okay, yeah, go through and make sure all your stuff is fine-tuned. It is the correct shape. Like this is not the correct shape. And make sure all this is nice and fine-tuned because we're gonna mirror this on the other side. So we only have to do all this stuff once. So trying to get everything exact would be a real pain. Oh yeah, just go through, make sure all your stuff is fine-tuned, it's the correct shape, it's leaning the right way, all that, whatever. And at the top and bottom, at least on one side, are correct. Like the top and bottom's very end looks a little small compared to the sides, and I like the way the sides look. So we'll just make those a little bit bigger. Make sure you get all the verts or use faces or something. Scale that up a little bit. Looks about right to me. A little small. The whole thing's a little small. I think it's this circle's causing problems. So just double click that, scale it up a bit, bring it down. And that should let me scale this out without causing too much troubles. Really only care about one side of the thing there, because I'm going to cut this whole thing in half. That looks a lot better. Let's do the same for the bottom. Just double click that, scale it, move it down, double click that, scale it. Nope, too much. There we go. And then bring down your verts that are kind of in a weird spot. At least on one side. So I know somebody's going to yell at me, because they have before, that this is not the right way to do it, and there's ways to make your stuff exactly perfectly even, and all that, and you know, I mean, if you can do that, awesome. Good for you, Mr. Professional Modeler Guy. I'm not. This is the way I do it. Okay, so that looks right to me. So now what we're going to do is delete half the model, which might have you going, what? But yeah, trust me. So I was going to do the thing all the way around, keep it a whole thing the whole time, and I'm not going to, because I want to just mirror this to this. The way we do that is we go perfectly on the axis by clicking the thing, go to wireframe mode, grab all that stuff, delete those vertices. Now you got half of model. So now what you can do is go to the tools, add a modifier, add a mirror, turn on clipping so that it will seam the two halves there. Everything looks good. Just go ahead and apply it. And now we have a perfect mirror exactly all the way through. If you get this weird split in your vertices, all you got to do is highlight them and then merge by collapse. Or, that didn't work. Merge at center. There we go. Brain fart. Alright, so yeah, just merge your weird pairs that aren't making any sense at the center, and that'll clean that up. That doesn't usually happen, but if it does, it's just a quick, easy fix. I could be using Alt-M to bring up that window, but I like right-click, I guess. Alright, so there we go. Now we have identical things on both sides. The model is a mirror image of itself. So any weird thing you see on this particular post is going to be mirrored exactly here. So if you got them all perfect exactly how you want, you don't have to worry about doing it twice. That is exactly perfect. So now we're going to bring our pictures back in. I just hid them because they were in my way. And see what we need to make. Could do the tentacles. I think I might do those last. Let's start putting in some of these details. Hi, kitty. So I had recorded this whole long part where I took these things off and then did subdivision surface on just the sphere itself and put these back on and all kind of crazy stuff, and it totally ruined everything, which is why you keep multiple save files and you save often, because yeah, you could really screw something up and then have to go back and redo it. So there we go. Reverted right back to this step thanks to saves, and that helps a ton. So we're not going to use the subdivision surface because it does too much. I'll smooth this out myself. But let's go ahead and put some details on this thing. Got this iris here, and we've got these panels, these individual panel lines. So we need the iris first. So what we're going to do to make that is go out of our model. We're going to add a couple more cylinders. We're actually going to add one cylinder. We're going to rotate that 90 degrees. Going to upgrade the vertices to about 50. Might go more on that actually, just because I want it really smooth. But that'll probably be okay. Let's see. What happens if we do 100? That's very smooth. Go ahead and scale it up. Move it out this direction. Keep scaling it till it takes over the edges of your thing there, like so. A little bit bigger. There we go. scale it on the y-axis so it's about a hockey puck, basically. What we want for this thing to do is basically touch the inside sphere without going through it. That looks pretty close. You can go inside your model to see. I think that's right. It's pretty close. Then we will duplicate this with Shift D. I just realized that my little keyboard thingy is off. Scale that down. Hold on, let me turn that on for you. There we go. So that is scaled. Then we're going to scale it on the Y so it sticks out front and back of our other one there. And then we use the Boolean tools. Use the Boolean tools to use it to cut a hole out of that. Should have worked. There we go. And now we've got our little ring in the front. Now, a lot of stuff when you're doing 3D looks like you've gotten it too big or there's some other issue with it. But in reality, you do need stuff like this to be really big because it looks right when you're zoomed in this close, you know. But in reality, you got to try to print it and it just won't print because the feature's too small. So kind of exaggerate everything when you're modeling. So for making the panel lines, these ones right here. Oh, hold on, before we do the panel lines. So I've seen a lot of models done this way. There's a certain company that makes models on their webpage that I won't name that does this, and it drives me insane. Right now we have overlapping faces. So if you go to 3D here, or X-ray, you can see that there's faces inside faces, touching faces. It's all kinds of bad. Your printer doesn't know what to do with that, and will often do nothing with that because it's all confused, and that's not what you want. So what you want to do instead is make sure your things are lined up how you want. I think I'm just a little bit too far forward with that. Let's go ahead and scoot that back just a hair. Want it touching. Alright, so just make sure that whatever you're going to be merging here in a second is touching somehow, because the face of this thing, this face here, this face, is touching all the way around. It should work out just fine. It may or may not. If you're worried about it, you can just stick it all the way through and then clean up the inside later. This should be fine though. So what you're going to do is go to your sphere, go to Boolean modifiers. What you want here is a union, and then you click the cylinder, and it shows this weird like glitchy effect going on. That's exactly what you want. That means you have double faces. You do that, and you apply it. And then when you delete your, come on thing, it's gonna do that to me, huh? So when you select and delete your, oh, did I do it the wrong way? There we go. Yeah, when you select your original cylinder and delete it, it gets rid of your double faces. And what was the separate cylinder is now part of your model. All the vertices and everything are all one. It's all blended together. See, it doesn't go all the way through anymore. It like stops here. It's just around that ring. Then this does go all the way through. Perfectly matches up with this. That is how you want your models to be. You don't want overlapping garbage in there. I don't know why companies do that. Anyway, now that your ring here is part of the main model, if you were to go into edit mode and vertices, everything lines up nice and neat. Nothing is like overlapping or anything. It's all exactly as it should be. Now we can put in these panel details here. I want these panels here to end right at the ring, nice and clean, not all wavy like this. So I just use a ring cut, and I put it as close to the straight line as possible. And then I can move the ring cut that I just made back and dissolve the vertices around that are all wavy, and it'll automatically attach to the verts in front of it. So it's all nice and straight now. In order to put these detail lines in, you could possibly use a ring cut here, except that on these two panels closest to the iris ring there, those are what's called an n-gon. Instead of having 4 or 3 points like a quad or a tri, it's got a whole bunch of points, and you can't ring cut on that. So we'll just use the knife tool. Just hit K and click where you want it to start and make a path all the way down on both sides of the central line. Grab the center line, sink it into the model, and then grab the lines on the side and hit Control B to bevel, and then you can use the mouse wheel to add more bevel lines. And there you go. Nice, neat little recess.